So here I've got the overhead valve, we'll get this right here, model 9P702, built in March 2013, overhead valve Briggs, and it's got this extra bolt in the bottom, and that's where the short bolt goes. So you got 6 long ones and 1 short one that goes right there. So I've already smacked it loose. So I got a problem here. Got one bolt that holds it to the deck. It came out, and the other 2 broke off. So they're always fun to drill out, whatever. But anyway, time for the crankcase cover to come off. So there we go. So it's got the. Now you notice on this one, it's got a mechanical governor attached to the dipper there, or the oil splasher, paddle wheel, whatever you want to call it. So that's different than your standard flathead. I haven't got one that I can see here within reach range, but it doesn't have this mechanical governor part. Other than that, it looks fairly similar. And of course, you got the camshaft. Pull it out. When I take these out, I mark them, mark the tappets. You got a marked cover, because I don't know which one of these is intake and exhaust, so this one's closest to the cover. So, on my push rod, it decided to fall down there. We'll pull the other one out. I suppose the push rod will do the same thing. I only generally mark one of the 2, but because I believe that on these ones, I'm going to mess that head gasket up yet. Generally speaking, as soon as you take the head off, you gotta buy a new head gasket on these anyways. That graphite or whatever it is sticks to the block and tears the gasket up. Oh, that's being a pain. Okay, fine. Just fall down then. But anyway, one thing I noticed was that the camshaft lobes are backwards compared to the flathead. I'll show you. There's a flathead. Now I will aim this lobe that direction, same as this flathead one is. And see, this one's up and this one's down. So they're basically opposites of one another. I'll line up the other one there. So these 2 are facing each other. So this one's, they're backwards. So what that means is that on the flathead, this is the intake, or sorry, exhaust tappet. So that means that's the intake tappet on this, the overhead valve. So, and they're running the this is your easy spin starting, mixed compression release. It's on the exhaust, so this is the exhaust lobe. The one furthest in is the exhaust lobe now. So that's a change there. Then I'll get into it's only got 4 head bolts and they're fine thread. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're a metric thread, because they take 10mm metric socket to get them off. Anyway, fine thread head bolts, and only 4 of them. I'll go ahead and remove the gasket. I'll note one thing first. The gasket, this block part here, faces the crankcase cover, and the open part is down. That makes sense because your oil drain would be on the bottom side here, not on the top. So anybody, that might help somebody out if you're putting one back together and wonder which way the head gasket goes. So I'll take that off there. I'll stick it up on my wall of fame there. So I'll get that. Go ahead and get that push rod out of there. I don't know if the push rods are interchangeable or not. They probably are. Probably doesn't matter if you mix them up or not. Anyway, so we got the famous plastic gear on there with the steel washer. There's a separate washer on it, and it's got that little tang there that slides into the notch in the crankshaft. Like I say, not my favorite setup, but I guess it works. So now, and you got the arm for the centrifugal governor there. It comes out fights against that spring. Oh, I'm pulling everything off the wall here with wires. Anyway, I'll go ahead and take the flywheel off here quick. Standard nut. And then it's got this little metal washer type thing there. Put the nut back inside that. Then just your regular flywheel key there, normal size. They say these ones have the two holes in them for some unknown reason, but it would be best to use the correct flywheel on it. And then you got the crankcase vent reed valve there. Yeah, some little music there. If you don't want to bend it too far, you'll screw it up though. But it is removable with a, I don't know, looks like 1/4 inch or smaller. And the oil supply passageway there in the block. They've enlarged that from the old flatheads. That's a bigger passageway leading to it. And crankshaft there. So I went ahead and pulled the crankshaft and piston out, and so I discovered that the rod journal on this is the smaller size. It's in the range of 0.9 inch instead of 1 inch. Show you what I'm talking about here. The old flatheads. See the rod journal on the left, flathead crank's bigger than the overhead valve one. So that means, of course, that the connecting rod and everything's different. I got a 3.5 horse flathead piston rod here. This comparing to the overhead valve one. So see the rod piston setup's a lot shorter. So none of it's interchangeable basically. But interesting, a fairly beefy looking rod for the size of the motor there. And it's got that gray colored, I don't know if it's a anti-friction coating on the piston, and the piston pin only comes in from one direction. It's got a clip there on one side and dead ends on the other, and the piston rings are very close to the top. I'm assuming that's all for emissions. Less dead area you got there, the cleaner the emissions would be on it. So quite a bit different anyways than the older Briggs engines. Put the block there. Now I'll tackle the cylinder head. So once again, you remove your 3 almost like sheet metal screw items from the OHV cover there. It's got like a cork gasket on it, so I think it's reusable. So then I marked this one exhaust, since this is the exhaust port here. Intake port on the other side, so I put a little X on that little cap thing there. Yeah, of course it doesn't want to come out now. Might require a little screwdriver. I think it's just yeah, oil suction or something there stopping it. It's putting up a little bit of a kerfuffle there. There it goes. Get the other one out. You don't want to lose them. They're kind of a small part. Great. Needle rescue, hopefully. Oh yeah, come right off. Okay, then all you have to do, if you see the slot there, you just push down on the valve spring. You get some light on it, and then, there we go. Comes right off. Same thing on the exhaust here. Push down, lean it towards the slot, and it comes right off. Get your rocker arms, you see they're on equal length. Now, just take the valves and push on them. They just slide right out. Now that's what I call a small valve. Almost looks like something from a toy. Get your exhaust. Oop. And the intake. The intake puts up a little bit of a fight because it's got, I believe it's got a seal. Seal. Oil seal. No, come out of there. It's possible it's got some kind of oil seal. Or used to. Or that's silicone seal. Maybe this thing is silicone sealed to the head, probably. Anyway, then you got a longer spark plug than normal. Yeah, takes you about a month of Sundays to unscrew it. There. There's the spark plug. So, there's your cylinder head. You stick your finger in the exhaust there. I mean, I know these engines are designed to make whatever horsepower they are, but I gotta admit, like, holy cow. A person takes a Dremel and gets in there, you could round that off. This is basically a straight drilled hole leading to another straight drilled hole. Intake isn't quite as bad. It's got a little more of a maybe better flow to it, but the exhaust, I'm sure a person could gain a little more power opening the exhaust up there. Like I say, just you want a rounder corner on the inside, not two squares joining. But anyway, that's just me. Like I say, I'm sure they make the power they're required to. The old flatheads, they required some grinding also to make that flow better. But I'm going to go ahead and leave these in. I think you have to put an Allen wrench in there and then undo the nut. But I'm going to go ahead and leave them and the studs in. But they're unequal length, but I'm pretty sure the ratio is the same. So that you understand, you get the lobe lift on the cam. Maybe it lifts the valve, I'll guess, 1/4 inch. Well, that pushes the push rod on this side 1/4 inch. Then you got your fulcrum there. So the distance from here to here is shorter than the distance from here to the valve. So that's actually going to move the valve further than the 1/4 inch lift of the cam. Kind of multiplies the valve lift of the camshaft. So just one point there on overhead valves. That type of thing's not possible with the flathead, where the camshaft pretty much, pushed on the tappet directly on the end of the valve. So